Hey, what's up, guys? All right, so in this one, we're going to go ahead and we're going to cover using SPAD.neXt and an MCP, how I programmed it for the G1000. Now, we're here in Ottawa, and I'm going to go ahead and see if I can reload this procedure and see if it'll work. But we're going to hit enter. Yeah, we want to go from a Mobi. Good. And then activate. Enter. So we'll see if that gets us out to a Mobi, or at least we'll maybe hand fly part of it, or we'll reactivate in the air and see if it'll take us there. So we're going to be taking off of runway 7. I'm going to go ahead and get out there and set up the autopilot. I'm going to try to leave SPAD.neXt in as best I can. Alright, so go ahead, get on the runway. And yay! I had to go in and reconfirm my sensitivity. Now everything's good again. Well, that's good news. Alright, go ahead, stop here on the runway. So, if I hit altitude hold, it's going to capture altitude hold, disable altitude hold. So we're going to go ahead with heading. So we want to hold it down, capture heading mode. 071 is actually about where we want to go. Good enough. So here I could dial up the speed manually now for the speed mode. The thing is, I could also capture it when we're in the air. So let's say we're going to climb with 115 knots. We'll just go up to about 2,000 so we can intercept that glide slope pretty quick and get going. All right, so we're going to take off runway heading. We've got our flight director on. We are in heading select mode. For now, I am going to toggle it over to move the CDI so that GPS drives nav1. Okay, we'll get up in the air, and then while we're making our way back, I'll go through how I programmed the MCP. All right, power is set. Gauges are green. Speed is alive. And gently back on the yoke. And we are off. Alright, so we have our 2000. And so if I enable flight level change mode right now, well, let's get our flaps out of the way. We're going to have flight level change mode, which I have programmed the same as speed mode. So we enable that. So now I see my 115 and my command bars come in to try to show me, hey, you're going to need to pitch up to get that 115 in there. All right. So we're going to go ahead and put the autopilot on so that it will fly those command bars up to 2,000 feet. So we wanted 115, but the plane is a little powerful. And it's going to ride it close, but it won't get perfect. And then this is the part where it's really funky. It does not capture smooth. They were much smoother before. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start a right-hand turn. We're going to go to 160. Heading of 160. All right. 160 it is. And we'll follow that out for a little bit. Just get ourselves into the right base. While we're doing that, all right, so on the first knob, Course 1, obviously I set that to nav OBS 1. Increment and decrement display is the nav OBS 1 value. Flight director for flight director. And again, because there's only a toggle event, I made sure to use conditions as to when to send the event so that they don't get out of sync. And of course, the light lights up. Auto throttle, ironically, is still set with the auto throttle event, but it doesn't do anything in this plane because there's no auto throttle, and one does nothing. Both speed and flight level change have been implemented the same based on short mode. Long mode will drive the data, and then it just sends the event of flight level change, which is obviously the toggle its mode, which I found better than when I was using the conditional events. So short mode activated, short mode deactivated, because it could get into a weird state where sometimes you have to tap it twice, even though technically the LED was out. The state of it wasn't actually falling. So I moved to this, works much better. So let's go ahead and let's turn ourselves back to 250 now. Nice wide right base into the downwind. All right, sorry, right down, not base. All right, so flight level change, that is the same as speed mode. I are the same. I use the speed intervene button as my means to do a capture. So that is just going to capture my current airspeed and load that into the IAS speed. So it's useful if you pitch up and you get the airspeed you want. You can tap that, then enable flight level change mode, as opposed to having to like spin the dial. So also can be useful in that kind of method. VNav nothing, because there's nothing for VNav yet. Heading is obviously heading. Heading is the increments. Bank rate is not yet implemented that switch, so I had something for different modes so I can increase how quickly I can turn those based on the outer ring, but it's not there yet. Heading select, so if you tap it, it gets you to enable heading mode. Again, using the panel heading hold, which will just enable heading mode but won't change the value of your heading. If you long press it, so hold it for longer than a second, that is going to capture your current heading as well as enable the heading hold. LNAV, so I assigned the nav mode to that. I assigned back course to the VOR load button, approach mode to the approach mode. Altitude hold is set as the event for the altitude hold button, and then your altitude variable controls here. Now, the way G1000 works, and well, a lot of general aviation ones for that matter, is you dial up the altitude selector that you want, and then you either climb with flight level change, or you can also climb with VS. And so some people will start their climb in VS until it reaches the speed that they want to switch over, and then they'll capture that into speed. So it's, but generally you want to climb with the speed and descend with VS. So you dial up the altitude you want, and then you use the VS mode, then dial the wheel to change your speed, or you do flight level change, you change this knob for the speed that you want. Autopilot enabled is Command A, Command B is where I put the yaw dampener. CWS is going to be the button for toggling whether or not GPS drives nav 1, and then when you toggle out of that mode, you can use this one. Short mode is going to enable VOR1, long mode is going to enable VOR2. Alright, so that is basically everything, because obviously this is going to be course 2. This one is doing nothing. I've got it doing nothing, and then of course there's the hard autopilot off on the disengage part. So that covers what it is. And as for the snippet, this one is the MCP G1000 SR22, my best revision. These other two actually can get deleted because this one now is dialed in the best for G1000. I would delete those two if I could. That's the one that is based on this guy. All right, let's slow it back up a bit. Let's go to procedure. Let's load. And let's activate. And I don't think it likes doing that. So normally we would do this guy, and then he's going to turn us in, obviously, to fly the route based on it. But what we'll do is, this is where normally, okay, vectors to final, so go ahead and we will heading hold. So we'll go with about 340. We're going to toggle off, so I'll bring back up SPAD.neXt so that we don't lose it. So we're in heading select mode. You see that lit up in SPAD.neXt as well. Altitude hold at 2000, which is good. I already have 109.5, so I'm going to now, since we're in heading mode, I'm going to switch into localizer 1. I can see I'm flying directly at the localizer to capture it. So we'll just go ahead and there we go. All right. Let's get there a little bit faster. We can see that the green dot is above us, so we are going to capture the glide slope from below. Of course, we're in heading hold mode. Altitude is currently held at 2000. All right, so let's go ahead and give ourselves an intercept course. So let's go with 45, so that would be 65, 66, so 26. Yeah, there we go. All right, there's our 45. So we are now on the 45, going into capture our localizer. So our localizer is starting to come alive. We will now enable approach mode. It's going to go ahead and capture that. Capture that. We see loc is green, so it's captured. Autopilot altitude is green at 2,000 feet, so we're going to hold altitude with GS, or glide slope is now armed. So now we just need to wait for the glide slope to come in. And there you can see that this autopilot just can be jank sometimes. So jank sometimes. All right, let's go ahead and start pulling the throttle back. And there's the green dot. And there goes the nose. Horribly, as it's bouncing around. Great autopilot skills. All right, so we've got our flaps. And we are on glide path. So MCP, we can see that approach is lit, nothing else is lit, which is great. A Moby, we cross a Moby at 17,000. And there is a Moby. So we're over a Moby. That checks out. And now that we have loc mode, we've got glide slope captured. Now I can go ahead and dial in my 3,000, which would be my altitude to climb to for the mist. I also will be flying runway heading, so I'm going to back up in heading mode so I can enable heading mode. Airspeed's getting down, so let's go ahead and start pulling our power back, minimums, and control, and sight, continue. Still way too touchy. That's just way too touchy, those rudders. Way too touchy. Especially considering I went in and I checked and reset the sensitivity. Now it's like it goes back or something. Whatever. Can't wait for that to be solved. All right. Well, thanks for watching. Hope this explains how I do my autopilot with a G1000. I suggest using this one if you've got the MCP. And of course, if somebody likes this and wants it, I can always make sure that I get my multi-panel dialed in. I don't use it. I would kicking around mostly to help out other people here and there, but I can always plug it back in and try to make sure it works. Anyway, if there's any other little videos I should do regarding SPAD.neXt and Microsoft Flight Sim and how these two pieces kind of are currently working, or how I do it, let me know and I will post it. Thanks for watching, guys.